Discount Bourbon Review! Today we're here with some Maker's Mark French Oak. I've been very excited to get my hands on a bottle of this for a very long time. I've been seeing everyone talk about Maker's Mark. It's the weeded bourbon to go get your hands on. I know even my mom and dad got a bottle of single barrel.
I mean,
and they're not even really whiskey drinkers. And so to be able to go around and try and get my hands on it, I was very happy. And the fact that I got the French Oak in cask strength, I was very, very excited about. That's right. And so I'm very happy. You can see that we've already cracked into them and got them started. Maker's Mark French Oak is a wonderful expression of Maker's Mark. It's a finished bourbon form.
No, I mean, Maker's Mark is something I haven't had too crazy much of. It's one of the more common whiskeys out there.
Oh, it is.
You think about it,
absolutely
you think
is.
about the fraternity of whiskeys out there: Jack, James, Jim, Mark, Turkey Tom, whatever you want to say about it.
Yep.
He's right up there in it.
Oh yeah.
Pretty available.
Pretty available. The regular Maker's Mark you go find pretty available. These cask strengths are a little hard to find. He's finished. Mm-hmm. We all know how we here feel about a finished whiskey.
I have an opinion about a finished whiskey that sometimes there's something that you're trying to hide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're maybe not quite as confident in your product as you should be. I think a good single barrel, straight from the cask strength product, let them water it down to 90 if they like, but that's how you give good whiskey.
Yep. Now that's the interesting thing about the cask strength that I found very interesting specifically. It even says on the side of the bottle here, let me see where it is. Bill himself, of course, number 46, Bill's recipe. Mm-hmm. And so Bill himself, who came up with the French Oak, did all the testing and did all that and doing the French Oak stave finish, he says that the best number 46, in his opinion, is 96 proof.
Really?
Yeah.
So he says you should water it down a little bit, get it down to that 45.
Yeah, or just buy, the regular French Oak you can go buy in store that you can go find bottles of, that's all going to be 96 proof. So that's what he says.
He says that's
the way
better than even getting the cask strength.
He said his workers were the ones that convinced him to release a cask strength because it brings out more chocolate and almond notes in it than just the regular 46 was. And it took a little bit of convincing, but eventually he turned around and he released it and they sell it out and about now, and I was very happy to get my hands on it.
How much do you pay for a guy like that?
Guy like this, I spent, oh gosh, it was a couple of weeks ago at this point, but it was about $50.
About 50? We'll say it's 50. We'll say you picked
50.
it up for 50 so we don't have to do the dance.
Yeah. But
we all know how much you guys like the fancy pants dance.
Yeah.
But
we're not doing them for the French Oak, not today.
No.
But he's definitely. How do you feel about the nose?
He's got a complex nose to it. Honestly, when we first started smelling,
very interesting characteristics.
When we first started sniffing, I was worried that we had some carryover from the last cup that we hadn't quite got him cleaned out because there was a lot of that sweet and kind of almost walnutty note to it. But as I really opened my palate back up and you gave some suggestives of those kind of dark fruits and chocolates, I was really able to take a lot of those expressions.
Yeah.
I was able to start running with them, and I was able to start kind of identifying those similar characteristics, and I almost kind of arrived at like a chocolate-covered cranberry, in a way.
Okay, I can see that. I like that a lot.
If you let one of those soak, well, in some bourbon, yeah, you might approach this smell.
Yeah, and of course, to be expected, you get a lot of oak off of the nose. It's a French oak finished whiskey, and so
But remember, here on Discount Bourbon Reviews, to be a bourbon whiskey, you got to be aged in a new American oak barrel, new charred American oak barrel. So this does not.
Well, he was aged in. They finished him with a French oak staves. Put in the barrel.
I think that stops it from becoming a bourbon. Then
I don't.
Yeah, see, Kentucky Straight Bourbon finished in staves. They can't call it just a bourbon anymore on its own. But then again, we go through so many different things. We've gone through wheated products. We've gone through scotches. We've gone through French oak staved.
Oh. And I gotta be honest. For as much as I really do like that nose, the palate's just not there for me.
He's spicy.
He's spicy.
He's loud. He's got a lot of those red fruit characteristics.
Yeah.
He doesn't finish with too much complication for me. Honestly.
There's a certain level of tongue feel funk. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. And it's something that I'm trying to identify, and it's really right here at end of palate. It has nothing to do with that first, reviewing the palate. You got your first sip, right as it comes into your mouth. What's that initial thought? And then by the time that initial thought's already passed and you've swallowed it, you're on your mid palate. What are you experiencing then? And that's just the shortest period. It just transitions right into that carry out, that end of palate.
Yeah.
So it's all a very quick experience, just a couple seconds as it crosses your threshold.
I love that nose. That nose is amazing. You're giving them that chew. I can see it from here. You're really chewing them up.
That's right. I am trying to really chew them up because honestly, I'm having some trouble hating a little bit.
I'm proud of you.
But see, that's the thing. That's why there's two of us up here.
Yeah, that is why there's two of us.
You watch our videos, you see which whiskeys that we like, that you also like, and you can start trusting us. If you say, hey, I think Josh has got a good palate. No, I think he's got opposite palate to me. Whatever he likes, I will not like.
Yeah.
You can start making more informed decisions.
Yeah, and that's all we want, is informed decisions. For as much as I love walking around a liquor store and have no clue what I'm looking at, what anything's going to taste like and smell like, it stun locks you a little bit. You get locked into a store much longer than you need or should be.
Let alone you go to a store with good selection and you have an entire grocery store aisle to choose from now. I mean, for someone like us, that's what we dream about because, we have a couple products, we're looking for some different things.
Yeah, but for someone just looking for
something,
a whiskey, they want a good whiskey. I mean, it's very easy to just get stun locked and not be able to choose something. You end up grabbing a name that you've heard before.
And even in a way, I think we've kind of got a little uppity in our ways. I think we eventually need to go talk about the fraternity. We need to talk about
we need to go get
Four
that.
Horsemen.
We need to go get that fighting cock is what we need to do.
Yeah.
That $10 bottle of whiskey that I keep finding around. We need to get a bottle of that fighting cock.
No, that's exactly it. I think we need to do that. I think we need to hit Jack, James, Jim. We need all of them up.
We need all of them.
We need all of them up.
We will, and we will eventually.
I mean, we went through Evan a little bit, but...
a little bit.
His, yeah.
That's the thing, though. Once you get in on it, it's just so exciting to want to go and grab some.
There's so many different products, and they're, despite being almost exactly the same thing, just corn juice, rye juice, barley juice, aged in slightly different places, under such strict rules to even be considered a bourbon, to have such a variety and difference of flavors. I know, I'm preaching to the choir here, guys, but just get excited with us about it, man. It's fantastic.
It is fantastic. Especially something as simple like this guy. I mean, regular Maker's Mark versus French Oak, completely, vastly different flavor profiles just by a couple of wood planks they're throwing in that barrel.
There's a yeastiness, a kind of headiness, almost a gas that forms in your mouth upon drinking it, and it's the off-putting characteristic for me as well. It's making me not want to come back to a neat sip like this. I think there's nothing wrong with the flavors of the whiskey itself, but then again, Maker's Mark shouldn't be making just a bad whiskey. I think it has to do with that finishing. I think it has to do with that extra little bit they're putting onto it, creating those gases, creating those different notes that my palate is not keen to.
I agree with it. Especially sitting here sipping it itself. I mean, before filming, I was telling Josh how not excited I was to be doing this one because I bought it and I've just been letting them sit around for a little bit. I mean, I can agree with it. It's less the flavors and more that gaseous texture feeling, that post palate. It kind of leaves with you. It just makes me want to not come back to them.
Now, I will admit, Discount Bourbon Review family, I was out at Oktoberfest yesterday and we had a wonderful time out there. We met some fans, we met some people out there. My palate is a little shot right now, especially on my right side nose here. I'm not sniffing as well as I should be.
Ooh.
But I'm getting a lot of grandma soap. I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting a lot of grandma soap, and I'm just not pleased with it.
Mixed with that 7-Up, I'll be honest, not very good. Not very good at all.
It tastes seasoned. It almost tastes like umami. There's almost a salty characteristic to it.
Salty and umami is really good. It almost brings out the worst characteristics in both the whiskey and the 7-Up. It's not a very good mixer. I don't know if I'm mixing him. What I am curious about, what'd you do with him?
Oh, the walnut syrup.
Yeah, the walnut syrup.
I was actually out picking black walnuts yesterday. It's when my hands are dyed. Where did we put him? Oh,
is he behind the 7-Up over
He's
here?
behind the Kings County.
Oh, hello.
And dude,
Kings
we gotta
County.
do that Kings County. We've been sleeping on that Kings County for a while.
He has been sitting on the list for a while now.
But we got content.
Oh, we've got content.
We got content. We got videos to make for you guys.
Go ahead and finish them up so we can do this guy real quick. Plus, I want to know your last little tasting thoughts on him.
Grandma soap. Licorice.
Licorice. Yeah, that's a good one. It's about a quarter. No.
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 Okay. I get that. It is a little weird to start with the cast strength French oak as well. You know what I mean? Maybe we should have started with some regulars Maker's Mark so we can see how they compare.
Well, I mean,
to
we've
one
had
another.
Nips and Maker's Mark off and on.
We've had
throughout
nips,
our time.
but I think there's a
really
difference
sat
between
down.
picking up a nip and slamming that before we go into a restaurant. Or I didn't mean to do all that. I'm sorry.
Well, here's cut me half.
Cut you half.
That's all right. As long as you ain't got cooties. But that's what we do for our fam here, our Discount Bourbon Review fam. You know, when we're coming in here, we're reviewing whiskeys, we're trying to keep them under a strict profile, trying to keep a lot of things similar, so that way we can give you honest opinions in a relatively controlled environment. You know, because whiskey is going to be super dependent as well. Who you're with, what you're doing, what's going on. There are some days where VOB 86 rains upon a parched land. And then there's other days where I'll take a sip of some Oa, I'll take a sip of some Blanton's, and I'm like, you know, it's just not really tasting today.
Yeah.
So
It's all about the day. It's all about the mood, the palate.
ooh, it really brings out those kind of buttery characteristics.
It really does. You get that black walnut. I mean, to be expected, but
Those fatty kind of acids.
Yeah.
And it's a 2 to 1/2 mix, isn't it?
Yes.
2 ounce to 1/2 ounce of the syrup.
Yeah.
That's prescribed as on the bottle.
Yep. Its smell is interesting. I get almost a cough syrup vibe from the smell as well.
You know, I was talking to a dispensary worker the other day.
Yeah.
I was talking to a dispensary worker the
Kind
other
of
day.
an off subject for the
Well,
discount
we
bourbon
got
reviews.
on medical weed, and I was telling them all about medical whiskey as it came out of Prohibition and people having to go to their doctors to get prescriptions for pain management. And how when I went through Kentucky,
Yep.
I stopped at a thrift store with my beautiful partner, and we went looking, and I found Miss Lydia E. Parkham's medicinal whiskey bottle. You like that, huh?
I don't like
Sunshine Rainbows?
That's bad.
Anyway, the dispensary worker did not know that medical whiskey was ever a thing, and that was kind of a laugh for me, you know? Because I think had you gone back in time and told any medical whiskey consumer about medical weed, they would have been just as equally confused.
Yeah. Crazy how times change on us. I don't like that.
This one was a soliloquy of angels singing.
Yeah.
If you know how we do our videos, you know we do them all one day out of the week, so we ain't drinking every single day.
Yep.
Nothing crazy. But we started off the live stream with this guy. You can always check that out on twitch.tv. And when we mixed him up with this black walnut syrup,
Yep.
it was fantastic.
It was
Oh my
beautiful.
gosh, there were angels singing in my mouth.
Yeah.
Those angels just left.
Yeah, they're not.
They're gone. They're gone.
No longer
This
in
is
the
a
building.
god-forsaken land in my mouth now.
Yeah, that's not good. So, I mean, I'm just going to get right into it. Nose, honestly, nose is up there for me.
Nose is good.
Your nose is fantastic.
I think the
love
nose is like the catfish of whiskey.
That's a good way to put it. I like that, actually. Because the nose on this guy, I remember today, and even the first day that I took him home and I cracked him, you get excited from the nose. You really do.
Yeah,
I mean, he starts
it's
telling you these
amazing
stories
expression.
of different flavors and things that you might be able to find in there, and then it comes down to it, and he's just not there. And so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to use this one, I've got a clean one here for you as well.
It's more of what I was referencing.
Yeah.
But
but so nose, I mean, he's up there. He's well above average on the nose. I mean, I might even put his
I'll put him at
nose...
an 8. I'll put him at an 8 or 9.
I-
He had some X factors that came from those French oak steaks.
Okay. Maybe a little higher than I'm willing to put it. I was thinking maybe a 7.5. Maybe on a really good day pushing an 8. So just a little bit different there, but...
I think it's a unique nose and an exceptional nose, and I think that's deserving of an 8. But as far as taste, I think your first sip is going to be your best sip.
Yep, I agree with that.
And that's more deserving of a nip, and that's particularly sad territory to be in for me.
Yeah, not a big fan, and because of that, I mean, it brings that down. Honestly, flavor, he goes under average for me. I mean, he just does. I mean, across the board, neat with the soda, with the it's an old-fashioned syrup, isn't it?
It is.
Black walnut old-fashioned syrup. It's just not that
just as we
particularly
had
nice.
ascertained, I think it's the base juice that we're most excited about that has those characteristics. There's certain notes to it that are just out of our palate, out of our range. And I think that that's coming from the French oak. Maybe that's just me being wrong. I mean, hey, if you're Mark himself, if you're Mr. Maker's Mark.
Bill. This is Bill's recipe.
If this is Bill, hit me up. Explain to me why I'm wrong, please. I would like to be. I'd like to like this whiskey.
I would love to,
like this
bottle and come back to him a little bit more. But, I mean, overall, with price in mind, I mean, $50, that's pushing the discount bourbon territory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to sit at that $5 for me. You know what I mean? I'm not getting too particularly excited about his price, but for what he is, being cask strength, French oak, you don't see it a whole lot. He's going to sit at that $5 for me.
I think I'm right there with you. Honestly, I hate giving whiskeys low points, and we have so many of our viewers that'll reach out and be like, "You guys rate things too highly." But you know what? This time around, I'll come in here. I'll be brutal for you. I didn't like that expression. I didn't like that yeastiness in my mouth. It was just not there for me. The smell was fantastic. I really enjoyed that smell. But when it came down to the price point, there's so many other whiskeys I'd much rather buy at $50.
Oh yeah, for $50
or less. Sometimes you get 2 bottles for that price.
I literally did that today.
I
was trying to look around up here like I could find them, like it's my personal collection up here, but this is Josh's, so I'm not gonna find the bottles that I walked home with today.
He doesn't grocery shop over here. He wishes he could.
I mean, there's some pot, you know what I mean? Just like, ooh, take that guy home. But yeah, I mean, overall with the French oak, I'm not vibing with it, as the kids say these days. And, I mean, the only good point in his favor being the nose, I mean, it really brings it down for me. I mean, overall, this guy's probably going to sit out.
Well, now, Dylan, I have a twist for the video. Okay. Are you ready? Look at me real quick. Now, let's look at the camera. 3, 2. A twist. Poor man's pappy.
Oh, poor man's pappy. You're right.
That's
I forgot about poor man's pappy.
Let's wait. Let's have that one just as a twitch.tv exclusive.
Okay.
But what we did is, if you know anything about the whiskey world, you're going to know one of the kings of it is Pappy Van Winkle.
Yep.
Incredibly hard to find.
Everybody talks about Pappy Van Winkle.
Any liquor store owner across the world from Timbuktu to right down the street is going to know to keep a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle for more than MSRP. It just ain't happening. But some side recipes have come up. Mix up some Weller Antique 107 and mix up some Weller 12. It's supposed to taste pretty similar. Well, that's more like upper middle class man's pappy.
Yeah.
You know, with these bottles ranging $100 to $200, it's not always reliable.
A little out of the range.
So some people have gone to taking this Larceny Barrel Proof here, a $59 whiskey. It used to be a little bit less, but its popularity has grown such that they rose it a little bit.
Yep.
And mixing that with Maker's Mark Cask Strength. Now, we don't quite have one here, so
this is the French oak cask strength. It's going to be a little off.
We're going to call this International Broke Boy. International Broke Boy. And that's going to be our little blend up. So if you want to see that, make sure to please come on over to twitch.tv. But it's supposed to taste like the imitation of the best whiskey in the world. So
we'll see how we feel about it.
For as much as we're hating on this guy, I'm going to give him a 3. I think he is worth avoiding. If
I see him versus, I mean, honestly, most of these other bottles on our shelf right here, I'm going with one of them. If I see him versus a regular Maker's Mark cask strength, I want to grab that.
Unless you're doing what we're doing here, trying to try a bunch of different stuff to see what's good and what people may like, avoid him entirely. I just think that...
I wouldn't put him on your bar.
You know what? I'll back that up. If you can get a nip at a bar, try it.
Get a nip at a bar.
Sate your curiosity. Yeah. We'll send you an ounce if you want it. No, we won't. But...
It's my bottle. I will.
I didn't care for it.
I honestly, you ask for a nip, I might send you that whole bottle just to get it off my shelf. I really don't want them on my bar. I'm not a fan. I'm a step higher. I'm going to give them an extra point to a 4 just for that nose. That nose is very good. The nose is... For every other part of him, the nose is exceptional. So I'm going to take him up just one extra step. I don't want him on my bar. He is below average. And a lot. Trash. A discount bourbon reviews first. Trash. And that's saying something. Man, that makes me feel bad for spending $50 on it.
You know,
thanks, Josh. I really appreciate that.
I mean, it's not as bad as Ancient Age Preferred.
Definitely not.
I'm pulling on it a little bit. It's not as bad as an Ancient Age Preferred. This is something that should have been in the trash a while ago, but we keep around just because it's so bad.
Yeah.
When people ask us what's bad, we can go,
that guy. It's a reason why he hasn't been finished yet.
yeah. Anyway.
No.